7 Unusual Filipino Practices Most Foreigners Won't Understand. If you are surfing in the internet and trying to access to countless guides, blogs, and articles dedicated to travel, there are always going to be new things for travelers to encounter upon visiting foreign countries. These include cultural practices completely unfamiliar to them, like the Philippines' unique culture. The Philippines has quite a few cultural practices, so here's a guide to understanding these Filipino habits. Number 1. PagMaman. There's a scene that may seem rather peculiar to the foreign traveler, is when Filipino children come up to their parents upon arriving home or seeing them, and taking elders' hand and places the back of it to their forehead instead of greeting them with a hug or a kiss. It's odd, right? This gesture is known as PagMaman. It is an act of respect, usually done to someone either older or a person of the religious order, usually a priest. It is usually accompanied by saying mano po, mano meaning hand in Spanish, and po means a particle in Filipino speech used to express respect. This saying is used to ask for the elder's hand, followed by a slight bow and the act of touching the hand to the forehead. People do this action as if to receive the elder's blessing, to which they would normally reply, "God bless you." PagMaman is like the Filipino counterpart to Japan's bowing and Spain's double cheek kiss. Number 2. Filipino time. Filipino time is a dreadful habit that only Filipinos have, sad to say. The country is still quite known for running on what is known as Filipino time, which is essentially a euphemism for saying that Filipinos are always late. When Filipinos agree on a specific time, say for a meeting or an event, it is understood to actually mean around 15 minutes to half an hour after the agreed upon time. So don't be surprised when Filipino gatherings almost always turn out to begin later than planned. Number 3. Inability to say no. A Filipino peculiar habit that many a time frustrates foreigners as much as it confuses them is when locals refuse to give an outright decline or negation. Filipinos, in general, don't like confrontations, and many avoid saying no at all costs. Instead, they'll give the Tagalog equivalent to a maybe, an alright, we'll see, or an I'll try. So should a Filipino be invited to a gathering and he says I'll try, there's a 50/50th chance he won't make an appearance. Pay attention to the words they use and their tone of delivery, you'll soon recognize what a Filipino no sounds like. Number 4. Being both religious and superstitious. The country's transitional history under different foreign colonizers brought with it varying influences, including that of religion and belief systems. During pre-colonial times, the area of what is now known as the Philippine archipelago practiced a form of animism. Archaeological research also found traces of Buddhism. Then, when the Spanish came, massive movements to convert Filipinos to Christianity took place, leaving the country to this day with a majority of its population Roman Catholic. And with many Filipinos possessing Chinese ancestry, they have adopted belief systems from that culture as well. This diversity is why the Philippines is so unique in its spiritual aspects. It's a country with millions of devotees cramming the streets of Manila during the Feast of the Black Nazarene, and with people actually flagellating, meaning whipping yourself or someone, and crucifying themselves during Holy Week and Good Friday. However, it's also a country with people who refuse to go directly home after visiting, Haya or Wake, because they were afraid of the spirit will follow them in their home, and also they forbid weddings of two family members fall within the same year because they fear of having a bad luck. Before we will give you the next list, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell to see more videos like this. Since we are uploading 1 to 2 videos per week. So guys, let's continue. Number 5. Rare use of first names. Respect is essential in Filipino culture. There are even particles of speech in Tagalog, such as po and opo, that are used to express politeness when speaking to elders. In fact, these two words and their usage are taught to children from a very young age so that they may get used to it and grow up knowing how to speak with respect. This high regard for honor is also the reason that there are titles used to politely address other people. First names are almost exclusively used for your peers of around the same age. For older people, there are titles such as ati, meaning an older sister, kuya, meaning an older brother, tito, an uncle, tita, an aunt, lolo, a grandfather, and lola, a grandmother, all of which are used depending on the age of the person you're addressing, regardless of whether or not they are actually related to you. Number 6. Typical table utensils are spoons and forks. Eating using bare hands. Usually, a very basic table setup anywhere else in the world includes a knife and a fork. People will only see a spoon if there will be some soup and a teaspoon for desserts. In the Philippines, larger cuts of meat are part of the meal, the knife is unnecessary, and a spoon takes its place. Filipinos use forks and spoons essentially because almost every meal always includes rice. The spoon is much more useful in carrying the rice and other food items, and the fork is used simply to push them onto the spoon. Eating using your hands is generally frowned upon. Western cultures see it as being unhygienic, barbaric, and taboo. However, in certain Asian countries it's a perfectly normal way of eating your food. This is especially true in the Philippines. PagMaman, or the act of eating food with your hands, is not only a practical way of eating your food, as it eliminates the need to clean spoons and forks, but also a good way of bonding with the locals. It breaks social boundaries and is seen by most Filipinos as a better way of enjoying your food. It's also good for enjoying anything that's fried, broiled, grilled, or barbecued. Soups and stews are a challenge, but not impossible. Number 7. Greeting someone with "Have you eaten?" Perhaps to say the Filipino day in life revolves around food would not be too big of an overstatement. This country is a largely food-loving one. With 3 huge meals a day, several snacks in between, and every event throughout the year celebrated with a feast, food is at the heart of everything Filipino. This is the main reason Filipinos are very fond of greeting with "Kumain ka na ba?" "Have you eaten?" They'll invite you to join them for a meal or snack, or they'll simply feed you, especially if it's an elder asking you. They really do take sheer joy in doing so. So if you come across a Filipino and he greets you with one of these instead of a "How's it going?" he isn't being nosy about your eating habits, this is simply a very common way for Filipinos to greet one another. That's all for today, guys. Thanks for watching. Hey, be sure to give a big thumbs up to this video and share it with your friends. Question of the day. Do you know what other unusual things Filipino would do? Leave a comment below.